I'm good, right? Okay. I'm Pastor Ray, just in case none of you, can we get the headlights and those turned down? Awesome. In case I've never met you before, but I'm pretty sure I went through and met you all. But before we start, anybody want some like Interlight sticker merch going on? Hold on. I'm gonna take the top, no, all of them. I want you just to fling them.
All right.
Take a little bit, fling a little bit for me, fling a little bit for me.
Fling whatever you want. Not all over there,
I gotta say what we got, yo. Fling a little bit over here, a little bit over here.
Yes!
A little bit over there. There's one behind your head.
They've been flying.
Has anybody ever had a chaotic situation like that? You're like, no, I've never been tasered in a plane. Anybody been in like just a straight chaos where you look to your friend and you're like, what the heck just went on? Anybody like that? Okay.
Yes.
A little bit more. Okay, so you weren't trying to assault people. That's good. So this was like, oh gosh, I don't know, 4 years ago, right? And my friend, Pastor Frankie, and my wife, who was my girlfriend, and actually me, where's the girl who's just getting straight hype over here today and like led us all up here? It's her husband. And so they weren't married, we weren't pastors, and we're going on this road trip. And if you know me at all, you know like a couple things about me. One, like as far as the riding the speed limit, like I'm right on the speed limit. Like maybe I'll get a little amped up if like a cool song comes up, I might bust it up a little 5 miles over the speed limit, right? But so there's that, and then you'll know that I hate elevators. Okay, we'll get there. So anyway, they think it's a funny idea that we're gonna take like this convoy of cars and they're gonna put me in charge for leading everyone from Tampa all the way to Atlanta, or not Orlando, that'd be like 2 hours, to Atlanta, okay? So, it's all good. So we get about halfway, right? And everybody starts getting a little antsy because they've been having to follow behind me, right? So what they literally start to do, it's a 3-lane highway, and I'm driving in the middle. And they start driving circles around me. There's 3 other cars plus me, and they're driving circles around me. And they're laughing, and they think it's funny at 75 miles per hour to be playing games like that. So, I don't like that. So we get to Atlanta, right? And I get out of the car, and I just give them if we weren't like in a first world country, I probably would have handled the situation by now, right? Like I would have that would not be going on. So I give them the look, and I'm like, I'm done with you, right? So I walk away, and I got like, I think 7 guys plus my girlfriend, now my wife, and we're walking, right? And what we had done is parked in a parking garage, which for some reason I don't even like those either. So we're in a parking garage in Atlanta, big city, a lot of people, and there's a 7-story parking garage, okay? And wow, we need to get to the 6th story. So what's the logical thing to do? You take an elevator. So there's 7 dudes, 1 girl, and me. And we get in, and the elevator comes down, first story, first floor, right? We all pile in, and I'm like that guy. I don't know if any of you are in here, but I'm the person that as soon as we get in, I don't care where we're going, I don't care who's in here, I look at the maximum weight capacity, right? And I do like that. I'm not very good at math, but for some reason when I'm in elevators, I can add like a whiz kid, right? So I'm like, okay, it says 12 people or, because that makes sense, the weight capacity. So I kind of skip over the 12 people because I'm like, well, we got 9, but I start doing the weight calculations, right? I'm like, okay, there's me, there's my friend Bryce, and between us, like we're like 3.5 people, and then like we're going down the line, I'm like, wife, okay, you're that, okay, you're like 180. I'm like, this kid might even he might even take weight off. Like he doesn't eat his Wheaties, right? So I'm like, okay, I feel good about that, right? And we go down the line, and we're at capacity. We're not under it, we're not over it, but we're at. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I think I'm okay. I'm thinking, okay, all we have to do is go 6 stories, and surely there's no reason at all why anybody else should get in here because we're just packed. And I don't know about you, but an elevator doesn't make sense to me. It's like a container with like I don't know, who thought it was like a great idea to put a bunch of people in this little container that is like held on by a string, right? Because you guys don't know that it's like a cable. You don't know even that it's running off a motor. You think like, oh yeah, but it might be Larry, right? It might be Larry, and Larry's just sitting there, right? He sits there, And maybe one day Larry just gets sick of his job. What if Larry left? You don't know there's a motor, okay? And Larry's like, I'm done with it. And he just leaves you hanging. What if Larry has to go to the bathroom? I think that's why elevators stop. So until you know the facts, don't judge me. So what we're going, right? We get into the little container full of people on a string, and we're like, oh, we have to get to the 6th floor. Okay, no big deal. We get to the 2nd floor, you know, doors open, and there's like 5 dudes there. Is there any room? And I'm like, stupid question. No, there's no room, right? And like, I'm just very front, you know, like, I'm in the back, kind of pinned up against the wall. And I'm like, nope, sorry. And like, the guys were with me, and they're like, sorry, dude. And they click to close the button, right? The one that people hit on you when you, like, there's clearly a whole elevator, and they're like sitting there jamming it, not saving it for you. So we click that button, and doors close, right? I'm watching it. I'm the guy who watches. I'm like, we're going up the elevator, because it, you know that like elevator sway, like this hasn't been inspected for like 5 years. Okay, 3rd floor, good. 4th floor. So I'm full, like, these are my friends. These are the ones I didn't leave in the parking lot. And in my heart, I think they're logical. I think they're smart young dudes. I think that they got it together. And I don't think they make dumb decisions, right? 4th floor. 4th, not to the 6th yet. What would make a group full of, I don't know, guys decide that they're going to have a horrible decision?
Girls.
What was that? Girls. Girls make guys think illogically. We're at the 2nd level, there's a bunch of dudes, sorry dudes, and we hit the button. We get to the 4th floor, this isn't, my wife can attest to this, the 4th floor, and there's 5 of them. You, girls, right? The illogical makers. And the door opens, is there any room there? And me, same answer, because it's logical, right? I got my girlfriend, I don't need these ones, so I'm like, no, right? And I go to lunge to hit that button, because I think that they're gonna beat me to it, because they're a bunch of logical dudes. And what happens? They outpower me, and they push me to the back. Okay, so by a blind chance, maybe a small account, maybe, okay? You see like, I get an angry drool going on, like, if it like really gets me angry, I start drooling, okay? You ever been there? You're like, what'd you just say to me? Right, you got that? Okay, I was angry drooling. I'm angry drooling right now thinking about it, okay? And I get pushed back, right? And think about me. It's a tuna can, and I'm looking at the thing, I'm trying to recalculate the situation, right? Like, what's our survival rate now? Not like, are we gonna make it? Just like when it crashes, what's our survival rate? And I'm doing it, and I'm like, we're over capacity, we're over capacity. And I'm yelling it. I'm not kidding. I'm done. Let me out. I don't care. I'll walk the flight. But I'm stuck against the wall, right? I'm angry drooling, and I can't even wipe it off, okay? And my wife, she's like, it's okay. It's my girlfriend, right? She's like, it's good, it's good. I have a buddy, his name is Steven. Steven even was like, this is serious for him, right? He starts like rubbing my shoulder, right? He's like, it's okay. I'm looking down and literally, I can't do anything about this situation. Doors closed. They had to like pull the girl in so she didn't die, right? When the doors almost beheaded her. So we're going up. 5, right? We're at 4, going up to 5. Okay, we're doing all right, we're doing all right. 5. And then we stop. Don't laugh at me. Don't you laugh. We never made it to 6. 5.5. It's not on there, but I know that 6 isn't there. And I don't hear a ding, and the doors didn't open. So the only logical thing, since I'm the only thinker now in this whole elevator, is that we have not made it to our destination, and we're 5.5 stories off the ground. Okay? That wouldn't be as scary if we weren't weighing the container full of people on a little string with Larry who's in the bathroom, okay? We're in a horrible, chaotic predicament. That's it, right? Predicament. You know what I'm going to say. All right, so anyway, we're there. And all the giggling and all the little flirting and all that stopped. It got real. It got quiet. And what did they do? What do we do? What do we do? I'm like, oh no, we ain't doing this. You figure it out, bro, right? Until it goes, and then I was all 4 helping them out. This elevator, right? It does this little bounce thing, and I'm like, okay, what do we do? Like, what in the movies when the CIA agent, right? We call the CIA, we're gonna press that button, someone's gonna come down, rip the roof off, they're gonna like rope us out of there one by one. Atlanta should have one of those on the team, right? So that's what I'm like, we should do it. Press the button. That's what calls the ambulance or the firefighters, right? So we press the button, and this is no lie. I'm pretty convinced that was just a calming mechanism before you died. We pressed it, right? The guy who was like, and it just, we're waiting for a phone call or something. There's no phone on there, by the way. Just do it one more time. Nobody came. Nobody called because there's no phone. It's just a little thing that goes, and it's made for us to calm down before the little string breaks. Okay? So, we're bobbing. The elevator's like the little engine that could. It's trying to kick up. It had its weedies, and I'm thinking about sacrificing people. Like, I'm pretty sure that if I rip the hole, we could toss the little skinny guy out. That might give us just enough oomph, right? And right as like I start losing it, right? I start almost hyperventilating, and I get that like chill. Any of you just had that angry chill down your spine? You're like, I can do this right now. I can bust this open, right? It starts moving. 5, now I can't do math, but I can do math when I'm in an elevator. But, right, 5 3/4, 80%, 90%. And don't you know, when we got to 100%, and I'm about to Spartan kick that door open, it opens, and I dolphin dive. I was all the way in the back, and I was the first one out of the elevator. I dolphin dive out, and I don't even know where I went. It's an open field, and I literally went to the street. I was in between these huge stadiums, there's people everywhere, and I'm just freaking out. I'm like, no, you don't want to get in there. I'm like Shaniqua, right? I walk out, I turn around, I took like one big of angry slobber and just tossed it at him. That is the only not true part of the whole story, is the toss. It was there. I had drool, I changed. It was horrible. It was stressful. So has anyone ever been in a stressful moment in their life?
High school.
High school. Thank you. Yeah, okay, I see like everybody. I feel for you if you're an elevator hater, going over to the speed limit hater, a plane hater, anywhere where you're like in a little container where things can go wrong. I'm with you, bro. Okay? So, but that's kind of what we're actually talking about tonight, is the fact that chaos is going to present itself in your life. And in chaos, it brings things in that could take something that's fun and no longer make it fun. It can make things that you were good at and kind of make you only half attempt them. They can, it brings this unstableness, this instability into your life, and it brings like this unpredictable, not fun moments into your life, right? And a product of chaos is stress. And that's actually where we're going to land tonight, is on stress. And, you know, a lot of people, I think the lie is that teenagers don't have reasons to stress. Anybody feel that? Anybody been like, oh, you don't pay the bills? You ever heard that one? Yeah. Or like, oh, you know, well, give me another one. I want another one. What else is like, man, I get this and nobody thinks it's worth stressing over. Huh? You don't gotta go to work. That's a good one. Okay, so the thing is that people, they, and it's not their fault. I think they're so engulfed in their own stress that they kind of forget about everyone else's stress. And the truth is, is that as a teenager, switch the mic. Oh, this is cool. Ray, fool. So anyway, I like this one better. No, you ruined it. Whatever happened. All right. So the problem is, okay, is that you guys, right, your lives, right, you got like grades, right? You have academic pressures in your life. Like, hey, I hope you like get straight A's because your sister got a scholarship, and since that we're gonna pay for her wedding, and when we pay for her wedding, we actually don't have money for you to go to school. Sorry, you're last in line. Okay, so there's that, right? Or maybe it's like church. Actually, church can bring on stress, right? Like you get a text from like your community group leader, and they're like, "Hey, we missed you." And you're like, "God, they hate me now," right? And it's not true. But what happens is you're like, "But if I didn't go there, then I didn't get to go with my friends," and now you're choosing, right? Or maybe you're in high school, right? And you just got a car. You just got a car, right? And you're like, man, I've been waiting 16 years to be free for 2 hours a day. Sam is so psyched right now. Okay. So, but what happens is mom's like, hey, you still gotta be home by 9, son, or daughter, right? She's probably not safe. She's probably like honey or something. And it causes a tension, right? Because you love your parents, but at the same time, it's like, it's been real, but it's time to go. Or maybe you're even a little bit farther on in life and you're a senior. And you got this college you're trying to pick, right? Or maybe you're like stuck at home for a year. And you're like, man, everyone else is moving away, right? Everyone else is... I love you. Everyone's going to move away. I'm going to be stuck here, and it causes a tension, right? And the thing with tension is that it has to be released. Okay? The problem is that a lot of people, they got this tension. You got a teacher.
You gotta twist the top a little bit.
Good job. You got a teacher that think they're the only ones that give out homework, right? So you got homework every weekend. We got some eye rolls on that one. My wife's a teacher, don't take it too hard. Okay, and then the truth is that you're feeling depressed and you don't know why. So what you start to do is you start finding a release valve. The problem is that when people use release valves to get rid of that pressure, a lot of times they pick the wrong one. So what happens here is that okay, I'm feeling stressed, I don't feel like I fit in, so I'm going to go to that party, and I usually get a little bit funnier when I drink, right? So they found a release valve that at the end caused more pressure, right? And then, okay, I got this car, and mom said I can't go out, but I want to kiss my girlfriend tonight. Just being real, right? And then you made another bad mistake. And what happens, guys, is that you keep trying to release the pressure with the wrong valve. And it keeps creating tension. And you keep trying to search for the right thing to do. Right? And we all know what happens. We all know what's going to happen. Maybe. Nope. I practice this like 10 times to get us across the kids.
Use your thumb.
Use your thumb?
Really? You guys did.
Thanks, Mom. So, practice it a little bit more next time. But what we're left with when we do that is we're in a worse situation than with what we started with. And the cool thing is that God has given us this out, and He uses this guy Solomon. I forgot the thing of stress, but Solomon has this verse. Can you pop that up for me? Solomon was this king, and he was considered one of the wisest guys that's ever lived. And not like wise, like as in wisecrack, but like literally like smart, somebody you'd want to hang around, right? And he's a king. And back in the day, this thousands of years ago, war was like a real deal. Like war was like someone could show up on your doorstep, right? Not like you wake up in the morning and someone's like tagged you in a post, and you're like, whoa, they're badmouthing me, right? You ever been there? Well, it's like, hey Solomon, wake up, right? And he gets out, and he's like holding his cup of coffee with his like camel fur robe, right? It's probably really elegant. And he's like, what's up, man? And he's up on his castle. And it was a really real thing. It was a true possibility that he could have woke up, opened his eyes, and there's an army waiting on him. Like the rules of war weren't like all there. So you want to talk about stress? It's not like he's hanging in an elevator and he's gonna die. He's like responsible for more than like you. It's like Gulf Breeze, Navarre. To be honest, he was in charge of the whole nation. So it's more like Barack Obama, only it's not like, hey, we're gonna shoot a missile and you got all this stuff. It's like, we'll just show up and kill you. So if you want to talk about stress, this dude's living in it, right? So what he kind of gives us here is just a little insight. He wrote like this whole book on stuff, but this one, and it says, the horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory rests with the Lord. And you're like, great, but I'm not going to war. No, but you are dealing with stress. And in here is hidden like a secret little meaning. It's invisible. There, what this guy's saying is like, look, my worry is the bad. My worry is the future. But I can't do anything about that. But what I can do is focus on the present. So what he's saying is when I put my life and my future in God's hands, I can focus on the present. And what that does, guys, is we allow God, right, to have our future, and we put our life in His hands so that we can do all that we can do now. And in exchange, God fills our life with His. He says, I got you. Right? He tells us in His love letter, like, hey, you trust me with that future. And you do everything you can. So what does that look like for you guys? Do you stressing out about a grade? Yeah. Right?
That's good.
That's right. Does it help you at all? Does it add anything to that grade to stress out about the grade? No. Does it help you at all during the test to stress out about a test? No, but what could you do in the present? Right? I'm not the greatest about school, but you can do your homework maybe, right? Or maybe it's graduation. You're a little bit farther than just worrying about a grade. And you're like, I don't even know if I graduate. Well, worrying about graduation does nothing for you. Doing what you got to do to bring your GPA up does. Worrying about a sport event does nothing for you. If all you did in preparation for a sporting event is worry about it, you're probably going to get your tail whooped. But if you focus on the present and say, I'm going to get out and do my reps, or I'm going to get out and do my laps, I'm going to get out and do whatever it takes, then when the sporting event comes, you've done everything that you can. The difference is, with Solomon, is that he says, look, I'm just like you. He's no different than this dude. He might be a little bit different than this dude. But not at first. He's just another human, another dude walking around. But what Solomon has, what these other guys didn't, he says, man, it's good to release your stress. But the truth is if that's all you get to do, and you never get to fill with God, you're going to see the damage. You're going to be left with scars. Over time, it's going to wear on you. You might be able to do it once or twice by yourself, but eventually this is not going to work. And he says, if you're a self-release valve and you're taking your own choices, I don't think I have to explain this. Right? But the difference is that when you're filled with God, he says, look, lean in. He says, it's good to release stress. He's like, I want to help you resist stress. He's like, when chaos comes knocking on the door, I want to give you a power to knock back.
That's right.
So he goes, let me take time with me. Let me take care of your future. You focus on your present, and I'm going to fill you with who I am. It's called the Holy Spirit. I'm going to fill you up with this guy. And I'm going to give you my power, right? Because I'm God and I know what's good for you. And when stress comes, no matter how powerful it is,
come on,
you're going to be able to resist it, right? And what happens, guys and ladies, is that when it comes to knocking and you get to knock back and people are laying around you, okay, and there's people with scars, and there's people who are heartache, right? And they're broken down and they don't know what because stress is taking the load on them and they can't handle it anymore. They got somebody to look to, right? Like not everybody you know is in this room today, right? Not everybody gets to hear this message, so how are they going to get to know about it? Well, it's when you decide that you're this person, when you're going to take time to be with God and you're going to take time for Him to pour into you.
yes,
And when you walk out into life, you got to understand that people are looking at you. And they're like, what's different about that dude? What's different about that girl? Why is it that when everyone else is freaking out, they're just kind of like, oh, this stinks, but I'm all right. We're going to be okay. What's the difference? And you can go, oh, it's nothing different about me. I'm no different than you. The difference is the God who lives inside of me.
Amen.
What can you do? You can identify your stress. You go home and you're stressed all the time. Well, it's probably not the home you're living in because you've been living there for something teen years. But maybe it's that you've been fighting with mom, you've been fighting with dad, maybe it's mom and dad are fighting together. Identify the stressor. Why are you stressed out about the test? It's probably because you haven't been studying. Why are you stressed out about the meet? It's probably because you haven't been practicing hard enough. Why are you stressing your relationships? You're either are or are not doing something that you should. So, identify your stressor. Talk to somebody. Pray about it. Talk to a community group leader and be like, hey, I'd like to be this dude, but how do I get here? And then take a step. So what's your next step? You gotta identify your stressor, you need to talk to it about somebody, and then you gotta do something about it, because sitting on your butt really never changes anything. Okay? I want you to think about that. Every time that something comes up, it's good to release stress, but I want you to learn how to resist it. Okay? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I love you. I thank you for tonight. Thank you for the brave ones who brave the weather here, God. Thank you for the pizza we're about to eat. Thank you for the time we're just going to have together as friends and truly as family, God. And I pray that you start filling everyone in this room with yourself. I pray, Lord, that we would know how to fight. I pray that we would know how to be the ones standing at the end of the battle, Lord. God, we love you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Real quick. You might be like, this ain't me. This ain't me. I don't know how this is it. I've been doing this for a while. I can manage that. Or you might be like, hey, to be honest, like, I'm looking good, but inside, this is my heart. Or inside, this is my stress level. Or inside, this is my anger. You list it. You know the blank to fill in, but maybe this is you inside. Whatever it is, guys, if this ain't you, and you want this to be you, and you're like, man, I would like to get a dose of that. You got community group leaders tonight who you can pull aside. You can be like, hey, that was me. And the cool thing is that that's why we come here today, is like this way we get amped up for it. Like, that was cool, that was awesome, that was funny and awkward. My elevator story, you guys shouldn't have laughed at it, but you did. Okay, it's good. Pizza's awesome, but this is why we come. So if this isn't you, you come up to us. You can come up to me, pull me aside. You can go to any of these leaders we're about to break off to and be like, hey, I'd like to know more about that. And that's why they're here. Guys, we love you. After this, after we're done eating and in community group, those chairs that you're sitting on, let's make sure that they get put back up. And then if you're like really into it, we're going to try to put this all back so that they won't kick us out of here. Just be truthful. They won't kick us out of here, but it'll help us. All right, love you guys. Community group leaders, can you get in your spots? And then we're going to bring a pizza to you.